Hi soulmates, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'll be showing you how to sew a queen anne neckline with an exaggerated hip and a cap sleeve. If this is what you're interested in learning, keep watching and let's get into the video. So I'll be working with a damask fabric. Okay, this is the fabric I'll be working with, and that's the lining I'll be working with as well. So I'll go ahead to cut out the patterns on the fabric and I will show you what that looks like. It is the front. I've cut the front. I folded the fabric on fold, so when you open it up, this is what you have for the front, and I ironed a stay on it to make it firm. This is the back pattern. Okay, it's cut on twos, and for the lining I'm going to be coming off from my dress length 1 inch. I'll cut that off. So I want the main material to be 1 inch inside when I join it with the lining. So I've joined the bustier part of this dress. I first iron wadding on the bustier from the underbust up. I ironed wadding before joining it together. Okay, and I've open pressed the stitches there, as you can see. I iron wadding on it, then stitch it up and open press. I also stitched the lining of the dress. I stitched the bustier part, so I'm going to be using it to turn the neckline of the dress. I'm going to be stitching up this way. Okay, so for the back I've stitched the dart at the back area of the dress, and I also stitched the dart at the lining of the dress. I'm going to be placing it this way, front side facing front side. Okay, so I'll place it this way and I'll stitch the neckline of the back as well. So I'm going to be stitching it this way all the way around, this like this, and I'll stop here. Okay, so I'll stop my stitching there because I'm going to be fixing zip at this side. Okay, so I'll take it to the machine and show you how I stitch. So now this is the front. I'm stitching where I pointed earlier, okay, the neck area, so I'm stitching that up. So now I'm going to be top stitching on the lining. So push all the seams towards the lining side and top stitch on the lining, just like the way I'm doing in the video. So top stitch to the other side. So for the back of the dress, I'm going to be sewing at the neckline. Okay, so this is the neckline. I'm turning the neckline with the lining. I'm going to stitch. I won't stitch all the way to the end. So see where I stopped? I first stitch and I'll remove the pins I use and top stitch on the lining. I'll push everything towards the lining, all the seams towards the lining, and I'll top stitch on it. And I won't stop stitch to the end. I'll cut off the thread. Okay, I'll cut off the thread and I will use my pin to pin down the fabrics together, so when I sew it won't move around, so everything can be in place. Okay, so I'll just go ahead to use my pin now to pin down the fabrics together. I'm going to continue from the neckline and continue stitching, okay, to the back of the dress, to the cuff area. So I'm going to curve that nicely, okay, just like so, and I will stop before the 1 inch zipper allowance. So I'm going to stop here, okay, because I'm going to be fixing my zip at the back. So I'm removing the pin and I'll cut off the excess and notch the seam allowance. Then I will top stitch at the cuff area. Turn that point out. Okay, so I'm going to turn it out. I'll use something to poke it out very well. Okay, so that's it for the back. Now this is the front. I've gone ahead to iron it very nicely. As you can see, I've ironed it, and this is what it looks like. So this is the back, as well. I'm going to be fixing my zip at the 1-inch seam allowance I left. For the flap at the front of the dress, I'm going to mark in 3.5 inches vertically and 7 inches horizontally. So I'm just going to mark in it this way, 7 inches horizontally. Please ignore I wrote 3 inches when I was writing this down. It's 3.5 that I marked. Okay, please note the correction. So I'm going to cut that out on my fabric, and so I'm going to be cutting that out on my fabric. Okay, so this bed, the 7 inches horizontally is going to be on fold just like this. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting that out. I'll cut 2 of it. So this is what it's looking like. Okay, so I'm going to be turning it to the wrong side, and I'll stitch these 2 edges together, and the top part, the 7 inches part, I'm going to overlock it. So on the material, I'm going to be coming in from the dart leg, from that dart point. I'm going to come in 1 inch, and I'll rule a straight line just like so. I'll place it this way. I'll be stitching half of an inch up there, and I'll flip it this way, and I'll top stitch on it. Okay, so I'll top stitch on it so it can lay down flat very well. So I've gonna top stitch on it like this. Please, you're only stitching on the main fabric. So this is what the back is looking like after fixing the lining and the zip, and this is what the front is looking like. Okay, so now I'm going to be closing the armhole, not everything, because there's going to be a cap sleeve at the top part. Okay, so I'm going to turn it this way, just what I did, fold it this way. Okay, and I will stitch from this end to and stop around there. So that, as I'll measure, that is around maybe 5 or 4 inches. So just like that, I'm going to stitch and stop around that area. Okay, so I'm done stitching it now, as you can see, and I've top stitch on it as well. From this point to the up is open, and I'll notch that area that I stopped sewing. Okay, so I want to flip that over just like this, so you can see what I mean. I'm actually doing an inseam finishing for this dress. Okay, so you can see the way the sleeve is. This part is closed, and the upper part where we're going to attaching the cap sleeve is open. You can see, so just like so. Now I'm going to be bringing the back of this dress. Okay, I'm facing front side, okay, just like this. Then I'll place it this way and flip the lining this way. So I'm going to be joining the main fabric to the main fabric, lining to lining. So I'll go to my machine and sew that down just like so. Now I'm done stitching that together. I stitch fabric to fabric, lining to lining. Okay, so as you can see, lining to lining just like so, with the same allowance that I added. So this is what the dress is looking like now. And see, it's all coming up. So I actually sewed boning on the lining of this dress, but I think I made a mistake of ironing it. So please, if you are placing your boning, I don't know, maybe don't iron it, because when I ironed it was not laying too flat. So at the end, I just have to remove the boning because I didn't like the way it was sitting on the clothes. Okay, now for the hem, I'm going to be placing it this way. Just watch the way I turn this way. Okay, the lining this way, and I merge it together. I put my hand inside to bring it out just like so. So that's how you're going to do it, and you stitch all the way around the dress, and you will leave a small opening at the center back there. You leave a small opening that you turn the clothes out from. Okay, so you see what I'm talking about. I'm done stitching the hem. You can see I stitch it all the way around, and I left a small opening here. So this opening is where I'm going to put my hand inside to bring out the clothes inside out just like so. So you're going to bring it out just like so. Okay, so yeah, I'm done bringing the cloth out, and this is what it's looking like. So we did a full, all the seams are all closed inside, all the seams are in. So here now that it's open, I'm going to be putting an hemming gum. Then I will use an hemming gum to hem that part. So for the shoulder, I'm going to place in the back shoulder to the right shoulder, just like so, and I will stitch from the beginning to the end with half of an inch. Okay, so just place it like so and stitch it. If you have another technique of stitching the shoulder, you can also do that. So now for the cap sleeve, I'm going to be tracing out my sleeve to the top arm area, just like so. I'll just trace it out. I'll trace it out and mark the middle point, just like so. I'll use my ruler to connect the lines together and connect this part together. Now I'll bring my dress. So I'm going to be measuring the armhole. Okay, so from here, from the top to where I stopped the stitch, I'm going to measure it, and I'm going to place that on the pattern and measure what I have. I think I have about 6 inches there, so I'm going to measure that as well here and mark it, and I'll rule a curve line, kind of a curve line, but it's looking straight in a bit. I marked 3 cm here, 3 inches there. So I'm just going to curve that a bit, just like so, and I'll cut it on my main fabric. I'll add seam allowance around it and cut it on your main fabric. So I'll cut that. I will also cut lining for it. I will use the lining to turn the hem of the sleeve, and I will overlock the top of the sleeve, and I'll also overlock the armhole side of the dress. So I will fix the sleeve. Okay, I've gone ahead to fix the sleeve on the dress, and this is what it's looking like. Okay, and this is what the front of the dress is looking like, and this is what the back is also looking like. I went ahead to make a bow for the dress, and that's the end of the tutorial. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're yet to subscribe, and see you in my next one. Bye for now.